said she was gonna give me some information, I can forward on.
You did, you turned us.
Let's pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for another day, Lord. Thank you for all the many blessings you give us, Lord. Lord, I pray that you'll be with Jimmy, and he'll get back with us to where he be in good health, Lord. And I pray that you'll still be with the ones that lost loved ones in the accident a couple of weeks ago, Lord. And I pray that you'll be with the leaders of this country, Lord, that they look to you for guidance. Be with the teachers in this school system, Lord, that they can detect problems with students and try to be comfort or alien to help them in the need that they have that they may not be getting at home, Lord. And I pray that you'll be with us as we go through this meeting, Lord, that we'll keep your best interest in mind. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My job. Had one job. Very good. Sorry, man.
Let me get some, I'd like to welcome everybody to the October 1st, 2019 Winfield City Council meeting. Margaret's going to be happy because we're sure keeping them business up here. Using this paper. First item on the agenda is approval minutes from the September 19th meeting. If nobody has any comments or questions about those minutes, I need to ask for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Chris, Anthony, second, all in favor. The next item on the agenda is a board appointment for the Housing Authority. Thomas Tyree is the one that's going to need to be replaced. They're asking for his remaining term to replace him with Michael McCollum. This comes from that Housing Authority board with that recommendation to put Michael in his place based on their recommendations, my recommendation to the council to replace him with that Michael McCollum. I would like to, if anybody's got anybody else that shows an interest, you know, of for whatever reason you don't want to go by their recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
Chris made a motion, second, to put Michael and Anthony, all in favor. All right, we're already, next item on the agenda is old business. We need to see if the council's got any old business. Nobody's got any. If the council, if the council don't have any, I need to, I don't know if Todd may want me to amend the agenda, but I'm gonna bring it up under old business, and if we need to amend the agenda, I'll ask to amend it. Brett, as you know, we let him post a position for a police officer. It's not on here as far as we don't have it under an item on the agenda, but Brett's ready to hire. He's got an officer in mind. Can I do that under old business, Todd, or you want me to amend the agenda for you?
I'd like to have an agenda item on hiring somebody.
I need to ask if the council will to let me amend the agenda to add a police hire as second. All in favor? The reason for amending the agenda is Brett has went through some interviews and different things, and he's got an offer he would like to present to the council for a replacement of the last one that's resigned.
And I apologize to the council. The only time that I could speak with him was Friday, and that was past the deadline to put it on the agenda. That's the only reason why. I would like to hire Eric Dubiak. Eric would be coming by way of Fayette Sheriff's Office. He's got a criminal justice degree from Troy State. He's 20 years retiree from the Army. He has been employed with Fayette SO since May 2010, and he's still employed with him. He's a corporal, night shift supervisor, and a firearms instructor. And Eric he's a good guy. He's a go-getter, and I think he'd be an asset to our department.
Is any of y'all got any questions for Brett?
I'll make the motion. Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right. Are you ready for, have you got anything ready for your replacement?
Well, we have a few interviews scheduled, so we
So
were
you're
gonna
not
have to
ready?
wait
You
until
don't
the
have a
17th.
recommendation for me yet?
Unfortunately, no. And my 2 weeks posting isn't up until Friday. So we've got interviews on schedule this week.
All right, and another, okay, just let me know where we can get it on the agenda for, I don't want to miss nothing out. We still haven't found a truck yet for the park. We're still looking for a dump truck down there, so that's kind of, we're ready to do anything on that yet. But I have been talking with Rob, and I think he might have talked with a couple of council members about, I want for us, the truck is the truck that Ricky uses. He's wanting to upgrade that truck, and I think everybody's got a copy with a truck that the state has this truck, don't they, Rob?
Yes, sir.
No, the state has a truck down there that he's looked at. He feels like it'd be a good fit for replacing that truck and then put that truck up for surplus to get rid of that truck. And we had budgeted, we budgeted last year, this truck last year. We budgeted to do this last year, we didn't do it, and I think Mike has included it in this year's budget. We'll be probably $4,000 or $5,000 a little bit over what we budgeted, is that right?
What's the cost of the truck?
$14,674.
We put 10 in the budget for a truck for the street. But according to what happened on the budget, we got a little surplus that
And then
covered that.
And you didn't, and plus whatever we get out of the surplus.
Yeah, I mean, technically, we go against that.
Has anybody got any comment or questions or about replacing that? That truck that we're replacing, a 93, isn't it? It's a 93 model.
Just drove every day too.
Yeah, it's been here ever since before I got here.
Everybody, which they start at 7, so everybody that transport kids to school or don't get to work till late sees that truck because it's on the road. I mean, I feel like that for, appearance reasons and, use of the vehicle, I think while that is running, we don't need to, a 93 model, we don't need to wait till it quits to try to get rid of it, in my opinion, because you can get a little more than scrap price for it if we move it before it's too late with something happening to it. If Todd tells me again if I need to amend the agenda to add that to, it's just this truck's come up. I think we discussed it back last year, but that truck's come up on this, at the state state's got it in surplus.
We've discussed buying this truck in the past and approved going ahead and buying it. We wanted to fight, we were just waiting for it to come up. We talked
I
about
don't
it.
know, I don't know that we've agreed in the past to buy one, we just budgeted it.
Okay. I think we could probably take this up as old business if we want to discuss buying this truck.
You may, I'd like to ask the council if they were okay with me letting Rob go ahead and purchase this truck and take that other one out and surplus it. I need to ask for a motion if you let me do that. Say all in favor. If you will, Rob, you'll probably get this truck, and when he does, Mike, if you will go ahead and do the, do we need to go ahead and act on surplusing that other vehicle as a motion? Todd,
That's what we're gonna do. We need to go ahead and do that.
I'd like to. I don't know if the park needs that truck. I don't think they need that. I think we done got them.
Well, it's
other than that dump truck.
Rob, you wanted Montgomery to get this, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, let him look.
See if they got a small dump truck.
Dump truck. Yeah, I've done talk with him about it.
Yeah.
I've asked him to look. Oh, but I need to ask if the council's okay with, giving a motion in a second to put that truck that we're taking out, put it on surplus, gov deals, and run it in the paper, I guess. Do it both.
Motion.
A second, all in favor? I don't know if it's, I don't have, I can't remember last week's minutes, but our last meeting's minutes, did we have a budget on last?
It was brought up, I think, under old business.
Okay, has everybody seen all the drafts that's come in on this, on the budget? It's changed a couple of times because of the last time it changed was actually because of the Blue Cross Blue Shield. We finally got a pretty firm number at what kind of increase the insurance is going to be. Why Mike has changed the last draft of it. The final draft, I think, is what you got with you tonight in your folder. 4.9% what the cost of the insurance is going up. The way he's got this budget figured, I don't know if everybody's looked over and looked through it, or if you're ready to act on it, or if you're not ready to act on it, or whatever. We just need to kind of, in a timely fashion here, before too much longer, go ahead and approve a budget for the next fiscal year. Everything pretty much, he's got everything highlighted. What money, like the road improvements and certain monies that's designated for that. Please keep in mind in this budget, we don't have Andy money budgeted in it because it's not a guarantee that we'll get Andy. But if we do what we're supposed to do with the gas district, we'll probably get it, but you can't, we're not budgeted. He's got $50,000 budgeted in there for the grant that's going on and the Tiffin extension that should be bidding here pretty soon for that road. The grant that we got, the 500-something thousand, I think our part's 50,000. That's budgeted in it. Software upgrade for the city, you see that broke down as a line item. We budgeted that last year as well, as we never did. Angie, I don't think, seen or didn't come up with software that she was comfortable with or thought that we needed. That's another item that's been budgeted the last 2 years. We may again not upgrade the software, but we felt like we needed to budget it if we decide to do it. with the way he's got it figured. As you can see, he's got a 25 cent hour raise for all full-time and then part-time employees. I guess, I think you might have had a council member that maybe would like to have seen that put in the budget. And the reason I brought that up is I didn't want to, when I first seen it, I kind of felt like that Mike was working himself, try to work himself a raise, you know, because he got to prepare the budget. I want to clarify that it's not him that's doing it. I don't know if he's done the cost of living compared to that, if it's, how much difference is a 25 cent an hour raise versus a cost of living raise of 3% or whatever it is now. I think it's 2.7 something.
I've not figured this year and last year's cost of living in, as a comparison.
And you've got, have you budgeted, I didn't look through here real quick, like, but I just signed the check for the last payment on that garbage truck. Did you budget that as that being the last payment on that older garbage truck? You had those monthly payments budgeted in, did you stop it?
Yeah, we didn't include anything in this budget that we're looking at now, the new budget for the garbage truck.
Has anybody got any questions, or are you ready to act on this? Normally, I mean, I'm okay with the way that he's, you know, the budget's something to go by. When you put stuff in there that's gonna change, when you pass the budget, it's just like this, 25 cent an hour raise will go in effect when you pass this budget. Understand that that'd be an expense, but he's got it. We've got a surplus of, 40,000 plus whatever other income that we have that comes in, like for Andy or whatever. Based on the amount of the city's income, which I don't know the exact percentage, we get a little bit of money from one or two other things, but the bulk of our income has increased each year, which is good, because we do a lot of capital improvements. As long as, like, if you want to personally buy something, if you make it more money or get a bonus or whatever, you're able to do that. And we have increased in sales tax revenue. It has increased each year. I've had them do a check and see where we was at this time compared to this time last year. We've increased probably 750,000 each year. So I mean, I feel like we're okay with the budget the way he's got it presented.
Mayor, I ask that we vote on it tonight.
You want to vote on it tonight, okay? Has anybody got any questions? I mean, or any comments or anything in that budget that you're not comfortable with or don't understand? Again, everything, a budget's something to go by except for we're agreeing, the council's agreeing to pay the increase in amount on this insurance. All you're asking the council, all you're asking for in this budget is to pay for that 4.9% increase.
No, the city will still pay 70%. The employee pays 30%.
What is it now?
That's the breakdown now.
70,
It's
30
just
now,
that
so
the
you're not
premiums are going up 4.9.
correct, I understand that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we're paying, the city's paying the 70% of the 4.9 increase, just like they were, the amount for the increase. It's not raising the percentage the city's paying.
Yeah,
That's why I explained it.
yeah. But, and the reason is, Mayor, is
it is a guideline, it's not a set in stone thing, so that's what I think we ought to do.
I feel the same way.
Okay.
But we're paying, the city pays 70% now, and the employee pays 30%.
Whether it's single or family coverage, that's the breakdown.
That's staying the same, the way we got it budgeted. I just want to make sure we don't see anything, I don't want to say hid in here or whatever, but it's just like I had already made the comment before that I felt like, and which Todd just affirmed what I have already been thinking to myself and talking, that I would like to see us take this line item out of this 25 cent an hour raise and act on it separate from the budget. I don't want, that's why I explained to you that when you pass this budget, with it the way it's written, it'll go in effect immediately. And I always use the budget as a guide. I'd like to take that item out of it. It's okay that he's got it budgeted, but I'd like to vote on it separate. If we're gonna act on that, since we've been discussing the budget, I think under old business that we can act on approving this budget, but I need to ask for an amendment amendment to the agenda and vote on this employee raise prior to approving the budget. I would feel better about doing that.
And Mayor, just to explain to everybody else, the reason I say that is you and I have had this discussion, but we budget $30,000 for a certain deposit, for a certain department, and we only spend 24. That doesn't mean that department's got 30,000. Before the year's over, we've got to spend $30,000. So a budget's something we try to hit. Sometimes we go over the budget, sometimes we come under the budget. But and since we use it as a guideline and we don't necessarily have to follow, it's good accounting practices tell us to follow it. I think that the raise should be separate and apart from the budget. He's shown you in the budget we can afford it, but I think that needs to be separate and apart. That just needs to be voted on separately. And that's my reasoning there on the raise.
I got one question. I was looking like, the only thing I didn't understand was Mike. I don't know if I need to ask Mike or whatever, about like this travel and training. Street department had, I'd say no. You had 200 and it went down to 150. Then the police department, you had 4,000 last year and you got 5,300 this year. Horrible. You had 2,300 and it went down to 1,299.
How he does it,
What I'm getting at, the fire department, they went from 3,000 down to 2,142, and that means fire department and police department don't have to have quite a bit of training. And then
but those numbers you see to the left, that 3,000, that's based on last year's budget, and how he comes up with the 2,142 is based on what was actually used. We didn't use the 3,000, so he dropped it. They didn't use that much in training. That's why he dropped it. That's how he comes up with the figure for this year's budget, based on what was spent on last year.
Now, with, Mayor, if I can, with the park,
they've been up on this one,
yeah, with the park, Anthony,
9,015.
yeah, with the park, and theirs is a little different. Charlotte Beasley, that's the athletic supervisor, is a district chairman over a rec sports committee with the tournaments. And by doing that, she gets to go to some of the state tournaments that some of our teams go to, and she's on a state committee that helps run the tournament. And her meals, lodging are paid for. So the travel cost for the park is gonna go down a little bit. Went down a little bit this past year because Charlotte's able to get a lot of her travel paid for by being on this tournament committee. Some other departments, some may have went up, some may have went down, but as the mayor said, we looked at what they spent this past year and tried to plan for the coming year based on what they spent this past year. Some went up because their travel costs went up. Some went down because their travel costs went down. So it could be either way according to the department and what their costs were this past year.
And what I'm getting at is, you know, our fire and police for sure need to train them. And we don't need to, just because we've got it. So, I mean, if we go over this, like with the fire department, we go over 2142, that's fine, right? You can't, they're not gonna say, hey,
It's a guide.
because,
It's a guide.
It's just a guide.
Yeah.
that's all.
It may be where their training is more local, they don't have an overnight expense or as much travel. It may be some of their training requires an overnight stay or something, so that can affect what they do too.
I just wanna make, I just wanna make sure nobody gets left out.
Right, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, we don't hardly
Chief
ever see,
legal officer.
hardly ever see them, not on the training. You got any other questions about it? Chris, you good with? I need to ask to amend the agenda to, that was not on, an item that was on the agenda. I need to ask to amend the agenda one more time. Make a motion, second. All right, Rustin made a motion, Tim second. All right, the reason for amending the agenda is to discuss what I'm gonna call it cost of living raise, but we're gonna base it, at a 25 cents an hour, a 25 cents an hour raise for all full-time and part-time employees. But I would like to make sure that they won't be questioning and make sure everybody understands this 25 cents an hour for full-time and part-time employees. I think that needs to be added to the top-out pay for a full-time employee. And you don't have to, on a part-time employee, how many departments do we have that a part-time employee is in a step raise?
Library and park.
Part-time employees are in step raise. Me personally, I think that needs to be, if you've got part-time employees at a top-out pay for part-time, I think to keep from it being, I think the most fair way to do it is to put that at the top-out pay. Because you got people that's in step raises, and you got to try to keep them from a new hire coming in. When you do a raise, a new hire comes in and they're already up to a particular point, you know what I'm saying, for their pay. You've got them in a step raise already. You got them employee that's getting a quarter every 6 months. Is that right? Until it's topped out. I feel like it needs to be on the part-time, and we've got, which Brett's constantly, his is constantly having to do it at a start out. Bob, I think, has got all his, what I call tenured, I guess. You don't have no, have you got any employees that's still in step raise?
Yeah, I think so.
One.
Yeah.
Alan, have you got any employees that's in the step raise right now?
I believe I've got one still in step raise.
And the park's got,
Probably.
how many you got?
One full.
Brett.
Oh,
That's what I'm getting at. And we got an administrative, Sandy, you're still in step, and Debbie's in step, and you're in step because of the position that you changed. Now, I'm just throwing that out there because I want y'all to, the council's gonna vote, if you're gonna vote on this raise, I want you to clarify how you want this 25 cents to go in effect. If you want to go ahead and give everybody a 25 cent an hour raise, start the next pay period, regardless of their top out or what. You understand what I'm saying, because they need to understand in the office how you want to figure that 25 cents if you're gonna figure 25 cents.
it would either be 25 cents per step or 25 cent a penny. Correct, is what you're saying?
Right.
This would be on the back end.
Sir.
This would be on the back end, from what you said, the way I understand what you're
Correct.
saying, correct?
Right.
This is a 25-cent raise, but if you're still in step, it's gonna be on the back end.
I mean, I'm throwing that out there, I'm saying that you need to clarify that. You had an employee hired in, that let's use just a rough estimate, just a figure at $10, and they top out at 15. Are you gonna go ahead and move if they're already at 10.25 because they've been here 6 months, and they're gonna move to 10.50 the next 6 months? Or are you going to, skip how you gonna do it? If, I'm just saying, you might not even pass the raise, I'm just saying that you need to figure that, but you need to study on that just a little bit before we, what's before you is a 25 cent an hour. I mean, we're talking about an employee, part-time, full-time raise. If you're okay with 25 cents, or if you want to do a percentage, or if you don't want to give everybody a raise, I mean, we're talking about employee raise, and what's before us is right now is a 25 cent an hour spread across the board.
If you wait till they top out, then you're gonna see nothing for 3 years.
Well,
I mean, how long is it gonna take them people to fight?
25 cents, most, how long does it take you to get your top out?
That's scheduled, but I
4 or
think
5
4
years.
years. Yeah, it takes about
We're
4 years.
still,
I'm finally
I
close to
think-
mine.
I think the last raises we did, Mayor, we did the raise effective then, but it also added top out. So if you were at 18, it's a top out. Now you're 18 and a quarter, but the raise went in.
That's what I didn't make sure they understood that.
That would be
Is
first step.
that when I said to change the top out, it's like if you got an employee that tops out at 15, that position will need to move to 15.25 if you pass it 25. You see what I'm saying?
He would get the quarter now, but his top out changes also. That's what you're saying.
Just each step would
It's
be
each step
25
added
cents.
25 cents to it.
Correct.
Right.
They'll still be the same, they'll still be in the same amount of, they'll still stay in the same amount of
Total
cycle.
25.
Right, they'll stay in the same cycle, it's just that they moved it quick.
Oh, yeah, I take each step is added 25 cents to it.
Right.
Yeah, I do.
That's the way I,
That's the way I would say it. That's what you're saying, right?
What would you have?
Each step gets the
25
25
cents.
cents to it.
Each position,
Don't have to give.
Is that employee gonna be at
Raise
50
till
cents an hour raise if you move, if you top out, move to, you see what I'm saying? Make sure they understand. I want a clarification. If you go ahead and give that employee a raise now, if you go ahead and give it to them, they're in a step, but you're gonna change the ones that's already topped out, that at 15, they went to 15.25. So that person's gonna go, you see what I'm saying? You're gonna give it to them now, they're gonna get another 25 cents if they stay on longer because you moved that top out pay. That's why I want the clarification. You understand what I'm saying, Tom?
I see what you're saying, it take a lot longer.
No, I'm saying if you give it to them now and you change the top out because you've got somebody that's tenured and you're gonna give them a quarter of that top out pay, if they're at 15, went to 15.25. And you're gonna go ahead and give this one a quarter. When they get finished topping out, they're gonna get it to 15.25.
a raise has in the past not affected top out or step.
But we're trying to keep, we're wanting to keep it clean.
Right.
And that's why I want the council to understand when we don't come back and I don't have employees that's been here, you understand what I'm saying? And because a new hire comes in making more than one's already here. I want to, you see what I'm saying?
so
Because
what you're saying is if the top out is $15, you're giving them a raise where they are now, raising them, but the top out stays at $15. It doesn't go to 15.25.
it can't, I mean, it won't be right. Well, I mean, it can, you can do that, but you're gonna have somebody that's already here that's topped out already at 15, and they're gonna be making 15.25. I mean, you can do it that way, but you see what I'm saying?
Mayor, but if you do that, the top out don't get a raise.
Yeah, they get one, but it don't go down as being a top out, they're above top out. That's the only thing about having a top out and then do straight across the board raises and stuff like that when you're in a step. That's why I don't want us to come in here and have a misunderstanding of who gets paid what. You know what I'm saying? If so-and-so lieutenant or who is making X amount of dollars, and then I don't want it to be where somebody's ahead of somebody else in that position. You know what I'm saying? I want to understand. I want us to have an understanding how y'all want it to be. If you give them straight across the board 25 cents, are you gonna change that top out because that officer's already been here? That officer's been here is at $18 an hour, and he's making $18.25. He's at a topped out position. Is that top out gonna stay at 18? That's how it's got messed up over the different times, is because a dollar, straight across the board, or, you know what I'm saying, at different positions, we change the top out. If you're gonna change, when you make a change, it affects the top out.
Well, I think, I looked at the percentage, and I looked at the quarter across the board. When you take the percentage, especially when somebody like he's talking about the 5 steps, their percentage, like if their step's 100, then their next one will be 150, then their next will be, because the more they make, because you're going by percentage. But if you do a quarter across the board, if he's at $14, he'll be 14 and a quarter, top out be 15 and a quarter, and then the next time it'll be 14.50. And you're adding a quarter.
At each step.
Top pay will be 15 and a quarter.
Yeah, he's saying raise the top out the quarter, is what we're saying.
Well, he's got to.
Because top out person is
Right.
gonna
Top out
get a
person
raise,
gets
you're
a
gonna
raise.
raise it.
Right.
But if you do percentage, you see what I'm saying?
That's right.
When you doing steps like
the way we
this,
do it.
they're a lot lower
Yeah,
than
because they've
pay
already
than
paid.
the top out there is. They can get crap. They
Yeah.
might get 10 cents, and
You gotta
the
raise
other
each
one might
step.
get 35 cents.
So you're saying what I discussed, how I put it the first time, you wanna go ahead and do it straight across the board now. Everybody will go ahead and get that, and then at the end, they'll be at a higher pay.
That's what
Because because they will be at they'll have an extra step.
You're not gonna have an extra step when you're adding it to them right now.
Yeah, but you're changing the top out, ain't you?
Yeah, but
It's just that quarter.
you're adding like if this guy that's $14 and his steps a quarter every time till he gets up to 15. All right, now he's at 14 and a quarter and he's at 15 and a quarter. So your steps ain't changing. They just went up a quarter. They ain't went up a quarter, but his from 14 to 14 and a quarter, but it'd be from 14 and a quarter to 14.50. You ain't adding a whole another year to it. You're just giving it to him.
You're not getting paid a quarter twice.
No,
No.
You're getting paid a quarter once, but it can
but if you get your step
add
raise,
25 cents to the step,
yeah,
but you're still only getting paid 1/4.
right. That's correct.
But what I'm saying, if you do say 3% cost of living, whatever, if you look at the cost of living, then this fella might not be getting but a dime. This one might be getting 35 cents. Well, it might take this dude forever to get up there to, that,
The more you make, the more you get.
yeah. And when you're topping out like this, it's not much at all. So, it keeps spreading it further and further apart.
Well, what I'm gonna agree that we'll do a 25 cent an hour raise straight across the board, part-time and full-time, and effective
Next payday.
next payday. And Mike will need to, and Angie will need to, and the clerk will need to change that top out pay up to that new scale from the one that's already topped out.
So each
Yeah,
step,
each step's gotta be
Each step will be-
addressed, yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's my vote.
Yeah, each step's gotta be
Okay, y'all
addressed,
understand.
including the
Each,
top out.
each position will be adjusted
Right, each step,
Everybody.
yes.
within each department.
That'll take you
Does everybody understand it?
about 10 minutes, you get there.
I understand it, but I like to ask that we hold up and table this 25-cent issue since we pulled it out of the budget and bring it back to the council on paper at the next council meeting, so it'll be more clear to everyone that what we're trying to do, and then so it's easier to maybe comprehend, and then we can kind of, you know, discuss with the employees throughout the city to kind of see where their mindset is on it, and you know what I'm saying? And kind of go that route. That's me.
Okay, so what you want to see is to table what I've asked for amendment for is to discuss pay raises. You would like to,
On the 25-cent only issue, yes.
you want to table that to our next council meeting.
Yes.
You want Mike to bring it back and show you how we'll.
Correct,
on
per
each step,
employee,
yeah.
yes.
You want a per employee, what it would raise,
Right.
making now to, at a quarter, an hour?
Yes.
October 1st. Right.
Or you want a total cost of the city?
Well, both of these.
Total cost is just under 29,000.
How much?
29. That's counting payroll, FICA and tax,
Got to understand.
the 25 cents an hour, all that factored in.
All right, has anybody else got anything, anybody else, he's showed his interest of tabling it and discussing that and bringing it back before the council, the next council meeting. My recommendation is to go ahead, if we got an understanding of how we're gonna do it for us the step pay, the top out, and the step raises. If you got an understanding and everybody understands how we want to do it, it's my recommendation to go ahead and pass the 25 cents per across the board raise. Based on that, I'm gonna ask for a motion to go forward with doing it that way.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll ask for a second. All in favor? Okay. Now, what I do want to do is I want you or Angie one to give me a description of how it's gonna look and how the pay is gonna start and who's gonna be at the end. You see what I'm saying? Well, I don't want no employee come back to me and say that that it was not done right.
Well, I'd like to have a conversation.
You understand what I'm saying? You know, we've been there before.
Do it like we did last time, basically what we're looking at.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to come back on the
You
table.
need to only get you down.
Oh.
You know, Randy,
Huh?
you wouldn't be the only one to get you down.
Oh.
Back to the top.
Now back to the budget. Has anybody got any questions on the budget other than what we've already discussed? If everybody's okay with the budget, I'll make a recommendation to the council and ask for a motion to go ahead and approve the budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
All in favor? Okay. Let me see these, make sure you won't forget any other business. But I would like to, Todd, we kind of left in a hurry the other night because we had a varsity ball game. Maybe this won't take us just a minute. I wanted to make sure that Todd we brought up the fact, because I had said 2 different times in my conversation when we were talking about this building over here, that the hospital was giving it back to the city. Todd clarified that the city don't actually own the hospital. And I want to make sure that everybody understands how that, it's just like, I'm going to ask Todd, does the city own the Winfield City School System?
No, sir.
Does the city own Winfield Waterworks?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, everybody understands the hospital is basically the same way as those 2 entities. Though they're separate entities of the city per se, and I want to make sure you understand, he said that the hospital authority board owns that hospital. But that don't mean that the members of that authority board owns that hospital. Guys, to make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. But I want to know, the council, I want the council to understand that this city, the city, through its board appointments, it's just like when you voted the governor in and the governors, you put that governor over the state. And that's the same way that these three entities work, is those board appointments that you make, those board appointments handle the business. We can't go in and tell the school how to run their business. We can't go in and tell the health department how to run their business. We can't go to the hospital and tell them how to run their business. The only input that we have as a mayor and a council is those board appointments. You're appointing those board members to handle the business, that business. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of, Todd might can add a little bit to it for how that's broke down, but that's pretty much all we have a say in. And either one of those is through our board appointments. That being said, you need to, if you're going to have it, feel like you're going to have, not liking the way the hospital's run, or not liking the authority board's running the hospital, and you're not liking the way the school board's running the school, or the water board's running the water department, you need to really understand that this body appointed those people in those positions to run those boards. That's the only input that you've got, correct? Now, based on what happens at those places, it don't affect the city's ability to credit ratings with S&P or different ones. Whatever happens at that hospital, or whatever happens at that water department, whatever happens at that school, does not affect the city's S&P rating, our credit. Is that correct, Todd?
Yeah, it's not, none of their debt passes down to us.
Everybody understands what I'm talking about, how water going there.
And the only financial commitment we have is the 1 penny's tax. And that's committed as long as the hospital we signed an agreement with the authority to allow them to pledge that 1 penny tax. And as long as they have, they don't have to have our permission to pledge that tax for debt or to create debt. We've given them that to use for that. We've pledged it as long as they have debt. They can use that. As long as there's a hospital there and they have debt, they can use that. But to the extent that they get that 1 penny from us, that's all of the debt of the hospital that we are responsible for. That the city, when I say we, the city's responsible for. That's it.
That everybody kind of, but now let me go ahead and say this. The city's credit rating somewhat can have an effect on their finance, per se, for a bond issue. If we have a bad credit rating, S&P credit rating, the city, it could affect their borrowing power per interest to what it would cost to whatnot to sell bonds. Now, is that correct?
Yes, because
Go ahead.
our ability to continue to pay them the 1 penny could be affected by our rating and what we do, so it could have an effect on them. If y'all remember, when the bond folks were here, the reasons they wanted to do it this way was because hospital authorities' bonds don't sell real good. So what we did is we passed the 1 penny sales tax through the city and pledged that because that made it more attractive. Otherwise, the hospital borrowing would have been a lot harder to do without that 1 penny pledge because of the revenue stream we have versus their revenue stream. So yes, our credit does can adversely affect them because they depend on so much of our revenue stream through sales tax to finance their debt. So,
I say that to make sure everybody understands that, to where I don't want it got out in the paper with people, because Todd was pretty firm that the city don't own the hospital and the city don't have that debt. So I want everybody to kind of understand how all that works. But that being said, this city supports that hospital, supports that school. It needs to be the same vice versa. The school needs to support the city and the hospital needs to support the city. Because it's all one big community effort to make every one of them work. Because the taxpayers, we voted to do a 1 cent tax to help support that hospital. We voted tax monies to support that school. You see what I'm saying? So I want everybody to understand that our credit does affect them, but their ability to pay don't affect us. I mean, but we're trying to do our part as far as to make those places both succeed. So if anybody else want to add to that or got any questions for that, I just want to make sure that everybody understood how that actually works. But our part is to make sure that we put the right people in the right places to be on those boards, to make sure that they've got the best interest of the city and the community in mind when they're on those boards.
Well, Mayor, I just, the reason I said that is because we have said that several times in this council, and it's not just council members. I want everybody to understand, I wasn't just saying that for council members, because the authority board members have said that. My father, as the authority board attorney, said that. We own our hospital. The point he was making there was when he said, it's back in our community now. It's not some private entity from Chattanooga, Tennessee, or whatever. We, the city now, the people of Winfield, own our hospital. That's the reason we were saying that. But there's a little bit of a legal conundrum there about really owning it. It's owned by the authority board, and I don't want people to think, well, then that means if the hospital loses a bunch of money, the city's going to lose a bunch of money. No, that's a legal fiction there. But what he was intending to relay is the community now has a stake in that hospital. We locally own that hospital, and so we locally decide whether that hospital makes it or doesn't make it. And we need to support our hospital. That's the point they were trying to make when they said we. So I just was trying to clarify that. Didn't mean to be,
Well, we was all in a big hurry the other night to get down there to the ball game and just wanted to make sure that, that we all on the same page and understanding that.
Well, I'd like to say one thing, but we all, I know, and y'all know, how many employees that hospital got, and how many employees that school got, and how many tax dollars that them people spend in this city.
I mean, that's a big deal to me, is because everybody's preaching, we need industry, we need a Toyota plant, we need a Honda plant, we need jobs. We do, but we need to protect the ones we've already got.
How many employees, when you take that school and that hospital, put them together, how many
You bump
employees
to
that you
200
get?
each one of them. You lose either one of those payrolls in this town, it's gonna be devastating. I mean, we don't even want to think about it. I hadn't had supper yet, and I don't lose my appetite. It would be that bad. I mean, it would be bad. I'd hate to see the day.
That's why everybody needs to support everybody.
We got these things, it's gonna be hurdles. I mean, there's always hurdles. Without hurdles, we wouldn't appreciate it when the time's good if we didn't have hurdles to try to do. But I think that we get on board and get people behind it, it would be successful. I guess that's the only thing I've got. The next item on the agenda is accounts payable. I need to ask if nobody's got any. Well, let me go ahead. Let me ask for a motion to pay the bills. All in favor? Which in this budget, I want to go back and say that I'm glad to see that our budget is with a surplus per se, and I feel like we're leaving some things out that we're not guaranteed that we will get. So our budget and our physical year-end stuff, I'm glad to see that where we're at with all the capital improvements that we've done. I think Mike had stated to y'all before we did a little over $300,000 this year in paving. I hope that we're able to do that again this coming year. Our streets is looking good. I mean, we've upgraded street lights, we've done this, and we're steady moving in the right direction to keep the town, and I wanted to also add that in that budget, we're able to let Alan move his hours around and get 2 people on at night on the fire department, which we've been needing, we should have, that's been overlooked and underlooked, you know, we need 2 people on duty with the fire department, and that's going, this budget's gonna allow them to do that without having to put another person on the payroll. But we figured that Mike had figured that in the budget for an increase for that, y'all may have figured that out. But I think that we're making the right decisions, we're doing the right thing, I just think we need to keep it up. Everything was good. That being said, I need to ask for a motion to adjourn if nobody else has anything else.
Second.
All in favor?
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.